All right, so thanks everybody for attending this brief webinar. It's an informational webinar about the Master of Arts in the College of Education at the University of Iowa, focusing on higher education and student affairs. We very lovingly refer to our program as HESA, and you'll often hear people around our hallways say, "Go HESA." My name is Jody Lindley. I use she, her, and hers pronouns, and I'm an associate professor of the HESA program. My background is in student affairs and academic affairs. I earned a bachelor's degree at the University of Iowa in English with a minor in human relations. I went on to earn a master's degree in the predecessor of this HESA program. It was a program called Student Development in Post-Secondary Education. And then I went to work. And I worked full-time in student affairs and academic affairs for 11 years before getting a PhD. I then went to Michigan State University, go green for Katie Buell, who's also an alum. And that's where I earned a PhD in higher adult and lifelong education. And then I was recruited back to my alma mater to be a professor in the HESA program. So this is my 10th year as a faculty member in HESA. I love teaching in this program. I love working with master's students, and I love the process of thinking about going to grad school. So I'm really excited to do that work with you all today. So please refer to me as Jody. I welcome you to use my first name. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the master's program in HESA at the University of Iowa is a cohort-based program. That means that students are admitted as part of a cohort of students. It's a built-in learning community in which you take most of your classes. I'm going to show you the curriculum in just a few minutes, but the short version is there are 3 elective courses, and the rest of it is laid out for you. And so students who do this program full-time move through the program with a cohort. Being a part of a cohort can be a really special thing. It means that you've got people who are experiencing the same things, they're going through the same coursework, but they're doing it in a way that might be a little different from yourself. So you're able to learn from their perspectives, you're able to learn from each other to both solidify the synthesis that you're doing in your courses, as well as talk about the different ways that you're all applying what you're learning in your jobs around campus. Our program is focused on theory to practice. We are very invested in making sure every student who is part of our master's program is ready to work full-time in the field of higher education and student affairs. That means that we have built in practice opportunities as part of our program. And that's what this next piece is about. We offer and require multiple experiential learning opportunities. So the first one is what we at Iowa call an internship. At other schools that you might be looking at, they probably refer to it as an assistantship or a graduate assistantship. They functionally are the same thing. It means that you are working part-time on campus with a supervisor or with a department or unit that is in student affairs, and you're getting paid for that experience. But at Iowa, we call those internships. Students can also complete up to 3 additional practicum opportunities. Practicum opportunities are time-bound, 1-semester experiences. One of those is required of everybody, but students who really want to spread their wings and get lots of different experiences often will take as many as 3, and then they count as electives. Our program, it requires 40 credits. Credits at the University of Iowa are called semester hours. That's what the SH stands for on the screen. 40 semester hours means that the program is meant to be done, if you're a full-time student, in 2 years, fall and spring semesters. For admissions, we do not require the graduate record examination or the GRE. Students are welcome to take it, and you can certainly send us your scores. A reason that a student might take the GRE is if they know they want to be competitive for something like a national fellowship on top of their internship experience. But most students who apply to our HESA program choose not to take the GRE, and that's fine with us. Finally, I want to say our program, this is a unique feature. We use what's called a capstone experience, not a comprehensive exam. So at the end of your 2 years, in many programs, you're asked to do a comp or a comprehensive exam where you sit down and you write a really long essay. It's a test. Instead, what we have designed is a semester-long capstone where our campus partners here at the University of Iowa and even sometimes other institutions that are in this region of the state of Iowa, they submit proposals for capstone. These are real issues, real, sometimes problems in higher education that those units maybe don't have the staffing to tackle at the time, but they want somebody who's immersed in higher education and student affairs literature to be able to help them figure out what they should do about that thing. So we get capstone proposals, and our HESA second year master's students review those proposals. They go out and do some informational interviewing, and then they match with a campus partner who they become the expert for. So your capstone project means you get to go out and do real work on a real problem in higher education. Questions about any of those program overview pieces? All right, I'm going to keep moving. Okay, so this is what the curriculum looks like. I already mentioned that it's 40 total hours. You might think, oh, so that just means I'm going to take 10 credits per semester. It's close, but it's not quite 10 credits each semester. So I wanted to lay this out and show you what it looks like. Now, those of you who are currently in undergraduate or have recently finished your undergraduate degree, you might be thinking, 10 hours, that's nothing. I was taking 15 hours, or maybe some of you even took 18 hours in a semester. It's different in grad school. So the academic load of graduate education is significantly more than what you would have experienced in your undergraduate. So 9 semester hours and above is considered full-time enrollment at the University of Iowa. So this is what full-time enrollment looks like in grad school. So the first semester that students are with us, they take a pro seminar. That's a chance for the cohort to be socialized to the profession, to learn about higher education and your role in higher education. The cohort also takes Introduction to Higher Education and Student Affairs. That's taking kind of zooming out and thinking like, what is higher education? What is the system of higher education and how does it function? And what are the different roles that student affairs practitioners can play in higher education? The cohort takes a course called College Students and Environments. There are actual theories, y'all, that explain the different ways that environments influence students. So the way that Z shared in your introduction that college changed you, there's theory that helps explain all of that. Similarly, we have a full year of college student development theory, and that starts the first fall semester with the conceptual foundations, and then it continues into your first spring semester with theoretical foundations. You can read through the rest of this curriculum. But what I want to tell you is that our faculty have been really careful to design courses and experiences to prepare you to go work in the field of student affairs. So we have looked to national organizations and across higher education student affairs programs, and our colleagues in those programs have been our collaborators to really build a curriculum that we think gets our students, our graduates, ready to go to work in the field. Any questions about the curriculum before I move on? All right, we'll keep going here. Okay, so the faculty of the HESA program include 7 full-time faculty, plus we have brilliant adjunct faculty who are folks who work full-time at the University of Iowa and in one case, even at another institution, who teach courses for us. This means that, let me think of an example. So when you take your helping skills course with us, you get to take that course with Dr. Maria Bruno, who is the Director of Inclusion and Belonging in the Division of Student Life and she's a licensed psychologist. She worked in university counseling services professionally for many years and continues her own practice, her own counseling practice. So you get to learn how to develop your helping skills from someone who is professionally trained as a therapist. So that's just one example of an adjunct faculty member in the HESA program here at Iowa. We also have a cadre of incredibly brilliant doctoral students. These are students getting PhDs in higher education and student affairs who help us teach our classes. So I want to highlight an example that's in the room with us today. So Katie Buell is a PhD student. She's earning her PhD in higher education and student affairs, and she has co-taught the Helping Skills course last year. And this year, she's my TA teaching our college student development curriculum over the course of the whole year. Katie, I feel like I'm forgetting a class. Are you TAing another class? Oh, you're teaching our undergrad class. That's what I'm forgetting. So undergraduate students at the University of Iowa who are interested in a career in student affairs can take a course in our department called the Student Affairs Profession. Katie is actually the primary instructor for that course right now this semester. So our PhD students, who are folks who've got lots of great experience in the field, help teach our courses. Katie, I don't know if you offered in the chat a little bit about yourself, but I think it'd be great for this group to just hear in the chat a little bit about your background, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Sure. In the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I did a little bit, but I can do more.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. All right. So students who are in the HESA program, we want our students, again, to just be ready to go out and be, the pick of the litter on the job market and really get whatever job you desire. And so part of the way that we do that is we connect our students with professional development opportunities at every turn. In fact, we also have to teach HESA master students how to say no, because we're going to offer so many opportunities that you might feel a little overwhelmed. And we don't want that. We want you to be able to have agency to say, actually, I'm at capacity. Thank you very much. So here's what those professional development opportunities look like. For people who have really only focused on one particular area of student affairs, let's see. And I'm not saying that this is the case, but Riley, I'm going to pick on you for a second because you shared that you work full-time in housing, and I know that you're interested in housing internships. So if Riley comes to Iowa and has an internship in our housing department, that means that if I'm Riley's advisor, I might be encouraging Riley to do practicum experiences outside of housing so that she can broaden her horizons and think differently about housing issues from other professional perspectives. So I might say, okay, Riley, I think it would be really beneficial for you. You've been on call, you've had to deal with crisis after crisis. Let's find something that is maybe a little more boring than the housing life. And maybe I would encourage Riley to do something where she's developing curriculum and isn't necessarily on call 24/7. So connecting students to those practicum opportunities is a part of what we value and what we really encourage our students and our faculty to do collaboratively. On our campus, we have, so if you don't know this, University of Iowa is a large research-intensive university. So there are over 30,000 students on our campus, and it can feel really big. But a way that our student affairs community feels small is through our campus-wide student success team. That's a collaborative effort across academic affairs and student affairs, bringing together undergraduate and graduate students, faculty and staff, and really dialing in on some of the pressing issues related to student success at the University of Iowa. So most of the HESA master students participate on the UI student success team, which really means you go to a monthly meeting and you get to network and you get to talk about really juicy issues with people who are in the field. We also have a student organization connected to HESA. It's called Go HESA. It stands for Graduate Organization of HESA. Go HISA is entirely student-led. Katie serves on that executive committee right now, and you're welcome to ask her any questions about it. I know they're holding elections right now, but there are representatives of the first year cohort of the master's program, the second year cohort of the master's program, the PhD program. We have an EDD program, and then there are different chairs of different things. That organization is a really beautiful model that brings our entire HISA community together, where you get to get sort of like outside of your cohort and feel like you're part of something bigger. We also encourage our students to engage in conferences. Sometimes that means you're just going to a conference as a learner. Other times it means you're presenting at conferences. We have had master's students have proposals successfully accepted at local, regional, and national conferences. And if you want to talk about any of those conferences, please let us know. And then finally, I just want to say, because we're at this research intensive university and because we have 7 full-time faculty in the HISA program, that means if you're interested in teaching or if you're interested in doing research, that this is a program where we can find those opportunities for you and you can partner with us in the teaching and the research. Okay, so funding. Let's talk about what the financial package looks like. And I wanted, it's really important that I point out that parentheses at the top that says some sites vary. So we have an agreed upon campus minimum compensation package, and there are some internship sites that are above this minimum package. So the minimum piece becomes really important, but this is what the sort of the standard compensation package looks like. So every student who is matched with an approved internship gets paid for your work in the form of a fellowship. That fellowship is $12,000 for the academic year, and that is for a half-time position. So the total is 750 hours. That averages 20 hours a week during the fall and spring semesters. So the $12,000 fellowship comes in the form of a monthly paycheck. It's through payroll deposit, and it is not taxed. It's up to each individual student to determine your own potential tax withholdings, and then you set aside whatever money you think is the right amount that you're going to be needing to pay in taxes when you file the following spring. So you see the full $12,000 in your paychecks. That's only during the academic year. Most of our students actually work full-time the summer between their first year and their second year. Some of our students choose to participate in national portals to connect to summer internships, like through orientation programs or through residence education and housing programs. We help get our students connected to those resources if they wish to go and seek out internships at other institutions. Students who want to stay in Iowa City during that summer between the first and second year are usually able to identify either hourly or salaried employment during the summer session working in student affairs, and thus gaining even more experience. So this is just academic year package, and it's by year. So $12,000 in the form of a fellowship, and every student who is matched with an internship and has that fellowship then gets a full tuition scholarship and a full student fee scholarship. So even if you are from outside the state of Iowa, the university, if you have the fellowship at an approved internship site, then you are automatically qualifying for in-state tuition, but it doesn't really matter for you anyway, because it's paid in the form of a scholarship. So your employer pays that for you. We also offer health benefits. So the University of Iowa has a really incredible teaching hospital that we're connected to. It's called the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics. We also have a College of Dentistry that's got fantastic services. And those are all available to you. And you've got great insurance coverage as graduate students. So the health benefits here are pretty outstanding. All right. I'm just going to check in and see if anybody looks like they have a question. Okay, let me keep going. So this is what our admissions process looks like. You'll want to have your application submitted in full by December 15. That's our application deadline. The application includes a basic form, a basic application on the graduate admissions website. Once you start your application, it'll assign you an ID. It's called a Hawk ID. That's because the University of Iowa mascot is the Hawkeyes. So you get assigned a Hawk ID, and then you log in, and you can log out, log in as much as you need to get your materials submitted. And your materials will include a current resume. It'll include a personal statement, and that will include 3 letters of recommendation. I want to just pause and say a word about recommendation letters. So the recommendation letters that we're looking for on the admissions committee include at least one that can talk about your academic potential to succeed as a graduate student. We are looking for at least one that can talk about your potential for the work of student affairs and being successful working in the field of student affairs. The third letter could really go in any direction. Perhaps it's a former employer. Perhaps it's a TA who you developed a really good relationship with while you were in your undergraduate institution. But ideally, one letter would come from a faculty member who can talk about your academic chops, and probably a staff member who can talk about your potential to do the work of student affairs. Okay. So students all submit applications by December 15. I'm the chair of our master's admissions committee. So that means that the following Monday, I download everything and I assign applications to readers on our committee. Every master's application gets a full review. A full review includes 3 individuals reading everything that you submit. Okay. You will also, I should have said this before on my first bullet, of course, you'll also upload, or rather, you'll have your undergraduate institution send us an official transcript of your bachelor's education. So we review everything, and then we meet as an admissions committee in mid-January. At that meeting, we determine if we want to invite students to come for our campus visit program, if we want any students to be on a wait list, or if we are not going to move a student forward in our process. Regardless of the decision, every student gets notified mid-January after we hold that meeting. So by January, let's see, I think the meeting is happening on either the 13th or the 17th. We have a holiday for Martin Luther King Day in there. So by January 20th, you will have a decision from our admissions committee. Students who are invited to come to campus visit days, that's the last step in our admission process. That's where you come to campus, or if it's not possible to come to campus, then we can set up a virtual option where you're engaging with us and getting to know all of the faculty and the current students. You're participating in a mock classroom. You are touring campus and getting acquainted with the different offices that are hiring interns. And then you're actually interviewing for internships. So February 21 through 23, those are the dates that we have held for our campus visit days. And February 23, that Friday, is the day that folks are interviewing for internships. After campus visit days, you'll go through a series of interviews, and then you will tell us, here's what I'm really excited about. Here's where I would love to be made an offer for an internship. And hopefully you've got more than one that you're excited about. That's usually what we encourage, is that folks really try to keep an open mind. And then at the same time, the folks who are hiring and who are interviewing you, they are also going to tell us, here are the students that we're super excited about. And then we go through what we call a one-to-one matching program. So each internship site can make an offer to one student per position that they have open, and one student can only receive one offer so that we can try to fill out that cohort as quickly as possible. So the offer phone calls and then eventually letters would happen between late February, right after campus visit days, all the way through April 15th, which is a national deadline for graduate programs. So that's a rolling process between February and April. Okay, so that is the end of the formal presentation.